There's just so much.
You're listening to a Mamma Mia podcast.
Mamma Mia acknowledges the traditional owners of land and waters that this podcast is recorded on. Hello and welcome to Cancelled, the podcast that looks at silly celebrity crimes and assigns charges and sentences to them so that we can all move on with our lives. I'm Jessie Stevens and I'm joined by
Claire Stevens.
Claire. Do you have a lazy girl story for us today?
I do, and this is from a lazy girl called Ophelia. And I really like that name.
With an O?
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's very Shakespearean.
It is.
It's gorgeous.
Shakespeare comes up.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Theme. Bit of a theme. Okay, Ophelia. She says, I have a lazy girl vision. Great. She then says she's been a regular listener. Lovely. A few weeks ago, I was out on a walk. I took my phone and my debit card with me, knowing I'd want to buy a snack on my way back home. That's the only reason I go for a walk, is to also get a snack on the way home.
Yeah, because it's a walk. And then the snack feels secondary, even though the snack is always primary.
Yes. She said, my card isn't linked to my phone's Apple Pay yet because admin.
It's a step.
It's a step. But I praise the mental load that she's had to have with not having Apple Pay.
I need someone else to put it on my phone. And once it's there, I'll use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a step.
Nearing the end of my walk, I stopped into the shop I'd planned to purchase said snack from. However, upon coming to pay, I know, I can chocolate. However, upon coming to pay, I realised I didn't have my card with me anymore.
Oh, shit.
I could remember where I'd last felt it in my pocket, which was an absolute maximum 100 metres back along the road where I'd been walking. The adult thing to do would have been to go back and retrieve it. However, the prospect of adding an additional potential 200 metres to my walk felt like far too big of an ask.
Yeah.
Rather than backtracking, I continued on my way home and I cancelled my card. Lazy girl.
She's a lazy girl. God, she managed to cancel her card. I wouldn't have done that.
No, that's the click of a button on the app.
Is it?
Yeah, no, it is quite easy. She said the follow-up admin of having to order a new card and update all of my automatic payments.
That's always sent to an old address.
Yes, that have since failed has been an ongoing pain. However, not going back for the lost card still feels like the right decision.
I respect it and I agree. And I had a similar experience recently when we were away. And I left a petrol station and my husband, who's obsessed with banking, said, whatever just happened at that petrol station, you were just charged $400 for petrol.
Okay.
Right? And I was like, it was a machine. So I was like, I think I might have paid for the petrol before. I don't know. He wanted me to go back to the petrol station.
And you're kind of like, the money's gone.
The money's gone. I left 45 seconds ago. You want me to turn around and ask someone a question about the $400. Yeah. I'm weighing it up. Am I out of money for this holiday? Absolutely. Am I turning around? No.
Whenever I screw up financially in another country by like overpaying, getting robbed, for example, I always tell myself, I'm contributing to a foreign economy. And that's a good thing.
It's called tourism. Look it up.
You are about to enter the cancelled courtroom. The defendants are celebrities. The charges are petty. The rulings are final.
Today we're talking about Drew Barrymore.
Oh, Blythe, because I was going to say her mum.
Gwyneth Paltrow is Blythe.
That's Gwyneth, sorry.
The 49-year-old actor, television show host and author.
Hey, I noticed that you made eye contact with Boobles, but I'm not sure it was her eyes you were looking at.
And that's kicking your ass.
Take a sip if you've ever faked it.
Oh, God.
I did it once. I wanted to do my best one Harry Met Sally impression.
Yeah.
I guess it's also a good way to just end it.
She was born in 1975 in California to actor Drew Barrymore and aspiring actress Jade Barrymore. Her career started at 11 months old.
Oh, wow.
My baby is behind her.
Oh. Imagine Luna. She is not
No, she wouldn't.
ready.
No, she'd cry. She's very shy. When she appeared in a dog food commercial. Claire, I would like you to rate Drew Barrymore's first performance. Are you ready for it?
This is a baby, and this is a baby. They both have special nutritional needs. That's why a baby should have his very own baby food, and why a puppy should have his very own puppy food.
Discuss her performance.
Okay, firstly, performance, flawless.
Agree.
Absolute.
It's all smiles.
Interacting with the dog, beautiful. What I will say is that Drew seems to suffer from a similar affliction to what Matilda suffers from, which is that people get her gender wrong.
Oh.
Because in that ad, you will notice they referred to the baby as a he. And it was Drew Barrymore.
Okay, Drew is a she.
Mm-hmm.
From there, she played Gertie in E.T., the extraterrestrial.
E.T. phone home.
Phone home.
And what a performance.
Which became the highest grossing film of all time. I think to this day it's about number 3.
Okay.
Barrymore was 7 years old. By 11, Barrymore had an alcohol problem. By 12, she said she was a drug addict. By 13, she was self-harming and hospitalised for a year and a half, and by 14, she was divorced from her parents and living on her own. She went on to star in some of the most iconic films ever. Never Been Kissed.
Sorry I'm late. It took me forever to get here.
I know what you mean.
Fabulous.
Disagree.
Scream.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
What did you say?
Fabulous. Charlie's Angels.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
Fabulous. Ever After. Watched it at school. The Wedding Singer. 50 First Dates. Music and Lyrics. Where Hugh Grant was like, I don't think she likes me. Remember? She came up in that episode. And most recently, she was in Santa Clara Diet. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Clarita
Diet?
Diet? I don't know. I didn't watch it. I think it was about zombies. It was very trying to be The Walking Dead. Anyway, now she hosts her own talk show called The Drew Barrymore Show.
Oh, thanks for hanging out with us. Can I just share something and be totally honest? I am rocking the caffeine this morning because I pulled an all-nighter with my daughter, Frankie. I'm sure you thought everything goes exactly according to plan at all times around here, right?
Which I consume solely through TikTok.
And we're going to get to it. Comes up a fair bit. Before we begin, I like Drew.
Yeah, no, always get good vibes. She seems like she'd be lovely in person.
Yeah, so I think she's a good actress. And this was a surprisingly difficult episode to prep for because despite being in the industry since she was 11 months old, she's not been cancelled that often. Oh, it's happened, but not very often. She seems very sweet and she's had a rough upbringing and come back from that, which personally I find commendable. Claire,
yes, but it also goes to show how great it was that for somebody like Drew Barrymore, social media didn't exist when she was a teenager. Because she got to just go to rehab.
Yes, but when she was, I think she was about 19 and she was on Larry.
One of the Larrys.
One of the Larrys. David Letterman.
David
Letterman. One of the Larrys. David Letterman. And she danced on the table and she flashed him.
Oh.
And that's on the internet.
Was it cringe?
This is the thing. The internet fucking loves Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
All the comments are just like,
classic Drew.
She's classic Drew. She's a good time. She's fun. She's so 90s, love her hair. And I'm like, she flashed David Letterman. I'm not cancelling her, but neither are you.
Yeah.
So, look, I don't decide who's in the cancelled courtroom. The culture does. And my structure for today is as follows. The original Nepo baby, unemployable by 14. She says she'd had a midlife crisis by 14.
I reckon I was unemployable by 14, but that's because I did make horrific mistakes at Boost Juice.
I didn't show up for my second shift because I got confused at the video shop. So I was unemployable. No, Mum called and said, can you hire her back? And they said, okay. Dancing in the Rain. Is Drew Barrymore a scab?
Ooh.
And lastly, The Drew Barrymore Show.
Yes.
The original Nepo baby. Little Drew was born to 2 actors, but that is not the whole story. She comes from a family of actors that stretches back. Guess. How many years do you think?
I think like 3 generations. No, God. Wait, no, there was no acting 3 generations ago. I don't know.
400 years.
What?
I thought the same about acting.
There was no acting 400 years ago.
400 years. I didn't know. This is in my notes. I didn't know they had actors 400 years ago. Thought they only had farmers. That's where Shakespeare comes up. Is that I'm like, I didn't do the maths. But Shakespeare, 1600s
vibes, yeah.
Now 2000s-ish. Cannot be sure, but I'm thinking 400 years-ish. So I'm imagining a great-great-great-great-great-grandfather or grandmother, probably grandfather because patriarchy, in tights, Midsummer Night's Dream with his willy contour out.
Yeah, and looking a lot like Drew.
Oh, looking exactly like Drew.
Drew's face.
Look, you saw her in the dog food commercial. You can't deny her talent. But even Barrymore says she was on movie sets from day one, so when they needed a baby, it's like, how about we get the one stuck in the camera?
Because you always wonder, you see like a baby in a show, you think, who's that?
Whose is that?
It's always the wrong age. Like, is your newborn and it's a 3-year-old?
Yeah. So that's a plot point. That 14-kilo baby.
Why did that person birth a fully formed human being?
Her godmother is Italian actress Sophia Loren.
Oh, wow.
And her godfather is a bit more low-key, Steven Spielberg. She asked after E.T. if he could be her godfather, and her mum was like, okay, fine. When she was 19 and she posed naked for Playboy, Spielberg sent her a large quilt with a note attached that simply read, cover up.
Oh, what a good godfather.
Had some advice.
I mean, no
All power
misogyny,
to her.
sexist, patriarchy, etc. But
she didn't have a dad.
It's cute that he was interacting
being
with her. Yeah.
There's a photo of her at 9 years old beside President Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
But, and this is where I'm always uncomfortable with the Nepo baby stuff. It might have given her a leg up in her career, but her home life, a mess. Her dad was an alcoholic, left when she was 9, although he'd always been absent. And around that time, I think she was about 8 years old when her mum was like, babe, let's go clubbing 5 nights a week.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Studio
you
54.
can't.
Yeah, which brings us to unemployable by 14.
Mm-hmm.
In an interview with The Guardian, Barrymore says that by her mid-teens, she couldn't get a job. You won't believe it, but all that clubbing and no school meant that Barrymore was chaos. She was stealing her mum's car and, in her words, out of control. She says she was drinking at 9, smoking pot at 10, using cocaine at 12, which meant she was blacklisted from Hollywood for having a reputation as a party girl. Can you imagine?
A party girl that's just a child.
Yes. Okay, so you're a director or a producer and you're out at the club and you're seeing a 12-year-old snort cocaine and you're like, ugh. Just another party girl going too hard on a Tuesday night, not being like, maybe we should confiscate the cocaine.
Yeah. Do you need some help? Because by my calculations, you should be in year 6.
You should be in year 6. Would you like some ice cream with some iced magic? Because that should be the fun.
Why don't you go to your room and play this great game called The Sims?
You should be playing The Sims in a dressing gown.
But yeah, it's weird to look at that kid and be like, here comes trouble.
Blacklisting you. Just another party girl. She's 12. So she was sent to rehab twice before she was 13.
Imagine being in rehab.
Imagine you go to
rehab. The rehab people.
It's like, are you here
Must
to visit
be like,
your mum?
Yeah.
No. I am here for rehab.
We don't treat substance abuse in children.
Yeah, I feel like they should have sent her somewhere else.
It's such a rare issue.
Then at 13, Drew Barrymore's mum, Jade, was like, I've had enough. I can't do this. So she sent her to a psychiatric facility for 1 year and 1.5. 18 months. She sent her to a psychiatric unit that she couldn't leave. She was like, you're a lot. And it's like, yeah, no shit.
You took
on her 12th birthday, she was snorting the cocaine.
Yeah. That is so sad. And it reminds me of this thing I've heard people say where it's like you can be, like when you talk about privilege.
Yeah. Economically privileged, but like family-wise, incredibly
emotionally deprived.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what it was
neglected
for her. And you think privilege is more complicated than simply having parents who happen to be in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because the cost of that
was big.
Was awful.
So while she was there, a few professionals advised that she emancipate herself from her mother, who maybe wasn't the best influence. So by 14, she was living on her own, divorced from her parents. She washed dishes and worked some normal jobs for a few years, but eventually she got a role in an erotic thriller called Poison Ivy in 1992, and her career skyrocketed from there. The time she danced in the rain.
Okay.
Do you remember this?
No.
You don't remember her dancing in the rain?
No.
I've got the video. It was an incredibly viral moment that the internet just loved. You're going to remember it when I play it.
Whenever you can go out into the rain, do not miss the opportunity.
Come on, comment.
Okay.
What did you just see? Just describe it visually for people who have heard the audio but they haven't seen her getting wet in the rain.
I see Drew Barrymore, selfie mode, in the rain, taking her glasses off, just really being one with the rain, instructing people to get out in the rain more.
All right. Do you think the internet loved it or hated it?
Okay. I think it's cringe in the way that the internet loves.
The internet fucking loved it.
Yeah.
The internet frothed it. People started doing it. One person said it was racist because it was copying a trend that they believed was started by Black creators. But then other people came out and was like, the rain doesn't belong to anyone. And the consensus was that it's actually fine and Drew can get wet if she wants.
Yeah, she can be in the rain. But that is something that we love about Drew Barrymore is there's a purity, an earnestness, and a
intensity.
And an intensity. Highly intense.
Yep.
But there's also a joy.
There's a joy. She owns it. We know where she came from. Babe, if you need to get in the rain to get through some of your childhood trauma, you roll around in the rain. You roll.
And it's just nice because you're like, yeah, she's in the rain. You know what she's not doing? Hurting anyone.
Exactly. She's just a bit wet.
Criticizing anyone, whinging.
What I would like to discuss is her call to action, her CTA. She says, whenever you can go out into the rain, do not miss the opportunity. I love the sentiment. I share the internet's general encouragement of Drew, healing her inner child. You do you, Drew. I don't like rain because I find it to be a day ruiner.
Ruins your hair. You got to wash it.
You get wet in your shoes and they start making sounds.
Squelch.
When it begins to dry, you stink like a Labrador. There are places in the world, Claire, we were recently in Ireland in the summertime, where getting rained on is a genuine hypothermia risk. And I don't want to die today, Drew. If I get wet in the Irish summer, I'll die.
Yeah, I can't withstand that kind of.
My fingers will turn purple.
Yeah.
My lips will turn blue. And I'll just keel over. It's all fine for you, Drew. I think you're actually just in your backyard. So you can go get into a hot shower. You ever got wet on the way to the station before an 8-hour day? You get to the office, everyone asks what's wrong. Well, I got wet.
And I smell like wet dog.
And lazy girls, what don't lazy girls ever have?
Change of clothes.
Okay, why would anyone have a change of clothes? I'm obviously talking about an umbrella.
Oh my gosh, I never have an umbrella.
I make a gamble every day, don't have it. Anyway, is Drew Barrymore a scab? The problem with everyone loving you because you were Josie Grossi, you had that sad brain injury in 50 First Dates and you got murdered in Scream, is that when you make a perceived misstep, the people get upset. Do you remember the writers' strike last year?
No contract, no peace!
For the first time in 15 years, more than 11,000 movie and television writers in Hollywood's Writers Guild went on strike.
This is absolutely an existential moment for the writing profession.
Yes, and I remember Drew Barrymore being involved somehow. And this is the one time I've seen her get a little bit cancelled.
Okay, it was a big deal. It lasted for 148 days, and basically all the writers banded together and were like, you got to pay us better, and also don't replace me with ChatGPT. As is the case with any strike, you need lots of people, if not everybody, to do it. You need the industry to feel what happens without you. So films and television shows were largely paused or shut down, and the ones that continued did so without writers. It was an understanding, especially if you're a signatory to the Writers Guild of America, it was like you shut down what you're doing. The things people were sacrificing, like writers were taking their kids out of school, no one was working, everyone was just sitting there waiting for this to end. But the only power you had for this strike was Hollywood's at a standstill, right? In support of the strike, Barrymore withdrew from hosting the 2023 MTV Movie and TV Awards because she's a signatory. She's quite outspoken about it. She supports the writers, solidarity, dance in the rain, so on. But then her TV show is due to come back towards the end of the year, the Drew Barrymore show. And everyone obviously expects it will be paused because
everything's paused.
It is struck, which means that it's not allowed to go forward because it's got writers on it. But she releases a statement to her Instagram. She says the show was built during sensitive times, COVID, and it's coming back this season. Tune in. She says she'll commence season 4 with astute humility, so it's fine. Things were not fine.
So she was just coming back. Were the writers coming back?
I think she was just going to do it without the writers.
Okay.
The writer's strike is now at 132 days, and now the Writers Guild of America is planning a protest. They are taking a stand against Drew Barrymore. Production on Barrymore's namesake TV show will start soon.
So Alyssa Milano, Deborah Messing, a bunch of other writers and actors came out and were like, honey, no, not how strike works.
Drew, that's not the deal.
You can't just start your show again. You can't do it.
I will say, I did think if you were a bit of a dickhead, / just honey needs some money.
Yeah.
When that was happening in Hollywood, if you were just a little bit like, I'll do some work.
Yeah.
Oh, I know everyone's striking, so just on the side.
I'll do it.
I'm available.
And also,
I have no ethics.
Double my rate.
Mm.
Now, in Drew Barrymore's defense, everyone was like, okay, Drew Barrymore doesn't need the money. She's worth like 125 mil. She's got Flower Beauty. She's got the Flower production company, which made a bunch of these movies. She is rolling in it. However, during that writer's strike, if you were a cleaner, if you were a camera person, if you were hair and makeup, if you were sound, you couldn't work. You were just sitting at home waiting for a job. So Drew Barrymore, if you read between the lines of what she's saying, she's like, I employ a lot of people. I want to give them a job. Also, her show was on a network. And if you said to the network, we're not coming back, they were replacing a lot of shows. A lot of shows never came back after the writer's strike. So, you know, you're playing a delicate
because you
game.
get to, they can just put in a show that's like syndicated or whatever, like a show they've already bought.
Probably a reality show or something.
Yeah.
Things got so bad that a few days later, she published a tearful apology video.
I deeply apologize to writers. I deeply apologize to unions. I deeply apologize.
She said this is a deeply complex situation. People's jobs are on the line, and she weighed it up. And yeah, she'll still be coming back.
Oh, Drew.
In October. Tune in.
Okay, here's the thing. I do think what you say about there's all these other people who work on the production. These issues are always more complex than they look from a bird's eye view and from a purely ideological perspective. It's like there's the ideology of how things should be, like put pressure on these studios so that writers get paid fairly so that we stop AI writing everything. But then there is a makeup artist who's like, my kid has cancer and I can't pay for his treatment.
Yes. But it's also like, if we just start making these shows happen, then the writers have no bargaining power. Everything they've done has been in vain. Everyone's sacrifice is in vain. And Drew Barrymore, who has some of the most power in Hollywood and who has been in writers' rooms and understands how it all works, and she can probably afford to pay everyone.
That's true. That's
for a little bit, which is what a Jimmy Kimmel did.
Yeah.
Is he paid his people still.
Yeah.
So what a scab actually means is someone who breaks a strike. So someone who is like struck and then does their thing anyway. So everyone started calling her a scab. And she lost a hosting gig at the 2023 National Book Awards. Anyway, she did her tearful apology and everyone was like, So then she eventually did delete that video and she came back a third time and was like, upon reflection, I'll be pausing the Drew Barrymore show.
Okay, good.
Until after the strike.
Good. Okay, good.
When she did eventually go back to work, 3 head writers refused to come back because they were so pissed. So she upset.
Pissed.
So 3 of her head writers, when she resumed things, she was like, guys, come back. We can come back. They were like, no, screw you. You tried to come back without us.
Oh.
So they didn't come back.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Interestingly, a bunch of daytime shows did come back with no fuss. The Jennifer Hudson Show and The View. So why didn't they get in trouble? Well, for starters, I didn't personally know Jennifer Hudson had a show.
No, and I didn't know The View was still on.
So play on. But Drew Barrymore, similar to an Ellen or a James Corden, you're meant to be a nice girl.
Yeah, you can't tell me you're a good person.
You can't be dancing in the rain, telling me to dance in the rain.
Yeah.
And then when it comes down to it, spit on the writers.
My only kind of knowledge that The View exists is that one clip where Kelly Osbourne says that, you know, when she thinks she's saying something and she's like, if we get rid of Mexicans.
If we get rid of all the immigrants, then who's going to clean your toilets, Donald Trump?
If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying
there's more jobs to be
in LA, they always
but
they don't.
Latinos are not only the only people
I didn't mean it like that. Come on.
It's the panel is like, ooh. And she's like, no, but it's like, no.
Honestly, just said out loud a bad thing.
Honestly, people you cancel along the way. We should do Kelly Osbourne.
Speaking of the Drew Barrymore show, I have in my notes, she sits too close to people. Claire.
Yeah.
I get clips constantly on TikTok from the Drew Barrymore show, and every time I see one, I think, scooch back. You're too close to their face.
You're too close. You're too intense. Okay, Drew Barrymore on the Drew Barrymore show is a girl at a girls' lunch who's had a bottle of white wine.
And thinks they're getting intimate.
Yeah. And is like, I so profoundly relate to what you're saying. And she's like,
she's
this
so
quote-
moved that she's got like tears in her eyes
yeah,
and she's
yeah.
like, I've never connected with someone more deeply. And it's like, what are you on?
I like you.
I like you too.
How do you be so you? That's one of my favorite things about you.
And Drew is just on life because I think that she's very self-actualized. But why are your knees touching? It's a massive couch, massive shot.
And she'll always say, she did one with Bella Hadid, because apparently Gigi Hadid was like, you've got to meet Bella, you're the same person. And then so she...
I thought they're not the same.
So yeah, I know, I'm like, I don't see the similarities. But then she's like, she's doing this one with Bella Hadid and she's like, yeah, and we met and we've just been talking nonstop and we're in your dressing room talking for like 4 hours. I'm like, Drew, that's my nightmare.
Drew, leave Bella alone.
Drew, you are my social nightmare. I love you so much, but I think if I met you, you'd be like chatting and then you'd be like, oh, why don't I just come to your house?
Okay. Drew Barrymore is why boundaries were invented. Is why people talk about boundaries.
Physical boundaries and emotional boundaries.
So I'm not the only one who's noticed a slight lack of consideration of space.
Oh, no.
At the end of last year, Barrymore interviewed Oprah Winfrey. And I'm just going to show you a clip and see if you notice anything unusual about what happened during their interview.
When we first met, I was really young.
Yeah.
It means so much to me because when I was 14 and I had that conversation with you, you had so much wisdom about, you know, and maybe it was while you were learning these things.
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't have the wisdom then. Looking at that, I didn't have the wisdom. But I did pay attention, you know, just as, I mean, the audience was a serious thing for me. And I did pay attention. I did listen to the audience. And I did feel like I was the representative for all of you. I never have been to therapy.
That's what I was going to talk about with you. You never went to therapy, but the show.
But I had all my therapy on the show.
What did you see during that clip?
She's holding her hand. So they're talking and her knees are touching Oprah.
Oh, wait.
And she reaches out to hold her hand and she's holding her hand as she speaks to Oprah.
Like close to her face.
Yeah.
She's holding Oprah's hand close to her face. I don't know if you didn't notice it, but she's also gently stroking her forearm for the entirety of the interview.
All right. Something I don't like. I'm not a touchy-feely person. And if I am having a conversation with someone and they touch me, don't like it. I feel weird.
Don't touch me.
I'm just going to say it. During that interview, Drew Barrymore latched onto Oprah Winfrey.
Which, can you blame
latched.
her? Can you blame her?
I would also latch.
Yeah. I think most of us would latch. But Oprah, I reckon in that clip you can tell she's a little bit like unlatch.
Okay, that's what people thought they saw.
Mm-hmm.
The internet said it's too much hand holding. They said she wanted her hand back. Why is Drew fondling Oprah? But Oprah came out and was like, I liked it.
Okay.
She said, I was actually comforted by the stroking of the arm.
Aww.
I went home and I told Stedman, I need to be stroked on the arm. It's comforting.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that's what she said.
It's a little bit six-to-you. Like, if she's telling Stedman.
I am now going to show you a series of images as evidence that Drew sits too close to her guests. Just have a little look through them and just describe as you go.
Okay. In the first one, she's got Brooke Shields and a blonde girl in the middle, and their legs are all draped over each other.
Mm-hmm.
So Drew is putting her leg over Brooke Shields' lap. Actually, for some reason, I care less about legs.
Okay. Keep going. What else do you see? Just
then she's got Paris Hilton, and she is hugging her and resting her chin on Paris Hilton's shoulder.
Too close.
And Paris is very much like sitting in a very respectable, legs crossed, hands together.
Yeah.
I don't like to be touched.
Yeah.
Way. Okay, I don't know who this person is, but Drew's sitting on the lap. Like they're Santa.
Yeah. It is a child with Santa Claus. Yeah.
Okay, in this one, Drew, she loves getting on the floor.
Yes.
She loves to get on the floor of her studio.
Yeah.
Yes. So she has Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler, who's dressed very Adam Sandler.
Yeah, he's got his runners on.
Yeah, and she is on her knees hugging them, which just means that their faces are all incredibly close. You'd be able to smell breath, hair, skin.
You'd want to know that your breath is fresh.
Oh, her breath must be very fresh. And then she's got Jennifer Garner. She's knelt in front of her in a worshipping type pose.
It's very I'm proposing. She kneels a lot in front of guests.
Again, we've got hand holding.
Okay. It's not just me
too
who
much.
feels weird. TikTok and Twitter are losing it. Please read out this meme.
Okay, that is the single greatest meme I've ever seen. It says, "The guest, can I be honest for a moment? Drew Barrymore, this is a safe space, go on." And it's an image of two people's eyeballs touching.
And the second tweet reads, "Someone said Drew Barrymore has the same intense energy as a girl you meet in the bathroom at 2 a.m.
Yes.
And it's incredibly
And
true.
honestly, they're amazing because they're your biggest hype girl. They're like, you need to quit your job and dump him.
Yeah.
And you're like, yes. And then you go home and you're like, who was that?
Yeah, in context they make sense.
Yeah.
Out of context they look intense.
Yeah.
Do you think the bathroom intensity is because that's probably where she was when she was 12?
Yeah, she's had like training. Also, I feel like for a while that could have been her full-time job, is bathroom hype girl. Like I reckon she was in the club, and when you went to the club, she was waiting.
I like you.
And she was like,
to
let's
fix
chat.
your hair, to tell you that your boyfriend is an absolute dickhead. Like, I reckon she'd be
100%.
very, very good at that.
Okay, some people say that on her show she can sometimes be a bit cringy. And I don't appreciate that because I think that cringe is something that we pretty much only use as a weapon against women unless it's Liam Payne.
I also,
in which case Liam Payne is cringe.
but I also don't mind cringe. Cringe can be fun.
You think that? I just need to show you this one clip.
Oh,
Okay.
Drew.
Have you seen the clip with Kamala Harris?
We all need a mom. I've been thinking that we really all need a tremendous hug in the world right now.
Yeah.
But in our country, we need you to be Mamala of the country.
So she's asked Kamala to be Mamala.
That's an incredible pun.
I can deal with Ernest. I can't deal with Mamala. I can't. Mamala is my line.
And don't, just because she's a woman does not mean just be your mum, Drew.
Tell me a writer's room didn't come up with that.
Yeah.
Pay them.
Yeah.
And just like to rewatch.
We need you to be Mamala of the country.
I mean, that's a vice president. That's too close to the vice president.
And the vice president is like, fuck, Drew, you've ruined all my chances.
So I've been listening to a lot of political analysis lately. And one, actually pretty much the only criticism of Kamala Harris is that she's cringe. Like that's actually the political use of that they try and get her to do like relatable things, but that she's got this earnestness and this cringe that people don't like.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, how dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah.
Like what you're doing with Mamala
is making her cringe.
is making her more cringe than she needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Claire, it is time for charges and sentences. Claire, do you want to go first?
Yes. My charge.
Mm-hmm.
I love Drew Barrymore.
Oh, shit.
I think she is cringe in a fun way.
Okay.
Mostly. Except for Mama.
Okay, yeah.
But I'll let that slide.
Okay.
Okay? Because being cringe, I checked the cancelled law book. It ain't in there.
Oh, I think it is.
No,
I
it
think we've
is.
definitely found people guilty of cringe before.
Yes.
But I think they have to do much more.
She's cringe in a fun way.
Okay.
My charge
Mm-hmm.
is being too close. She's
Yeah.
almost, it's triggering for me to watch as a mum of a small child
Mm-hmm.
because you think, nah, we need personal space. And I
Yeah.
know what it's like to have somebody gripping you all the time.
Latching.
It's latching.
Yeah.
And you
Because
go,
we've often said babies don't get it is you'll be holding them like on your hip
Mm.
and you'll look down and they're staring at you eyeball to eyeball and you
Yeah.
have to go, that's not the done thing.
no, it's too close.
It's too close. And I've been in social situations. I've been at, a party where I'm talking to someone. Their face is getting too close to my face and I trip over a pot plant because
Yeah.
what I'm doing is edging backwards.
Yeah.
I'm going, our foreheads are getting touched.
Yeah. Matilda will be face to face, just staring at me, and then she does start sucking.
Yeah. And that's
On my
what
cheek.
Drew Barrymore looks like. She might start sucking.
She looks like she 100% is just going to,
Yeah.
nah,
On the
don't.
nose.
That's an adult.
Okay, what's your sentence?
My sentence. The Drew Barrymore show needs a set of rules that actually resembles the rules of a school playground.
Ah.
And one of the rules of a school playground,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
no touching.
No touching and
No
no hat, no
touching.
play.
No hat, no
yeah.
play, no fun today, no fun today.
Yeah.
But importantly, we don't touch.
You know it's not no touching, Claire. It's keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah.
Hands to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hands on your head.
Yes.
Your own head. Drew. Hands on your head.
Not Oprah's head, because we know you'll do that.
Yeah.
But she needs to keep her hands to herself. You can connect with somebody closely emotionally without touching them physically too closely.
Okay. This is my charge.
Can you imagine her at a boozy lunch?
I know.
She large.
My charge. This is what I've written down. Too enlightened ? Too mentally well ? Rain. Okay. She has done so much work to be where she is and to have 2 kids, and she seems like a brilliant mother. She's got this thriving career. I love that she looks her age. I don't know if that's offensive to say, but I said it. She's very entrepreneurial. I'm in awe of her. But you know how self-actualization is like a developmental stage?
Yeah, which I'm so far from.
Yeah.
And like you know how there's like, I think there's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
And self-actualization is at the top.
And the bottom is like shelter. I feel like I'm still battling with that.
No, you actually are.
Yeah.
Like you barely have a home.
Yeah.
Like self-awareness, personal development, all of those things. I feel like say self-actualization and you've got your thing. Most of us get to like a 7. I feel like Drew's accidentally got to 92.
Yeah. I feel like if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it just got Drew Barrymore's face right at the top.
Yeah.
And everyone goes, oh.
So this is the thing. She feels things very deeply. She wants Kamala to be Mamala. She wants to dance in the rain and embrace Oprah, and she can't sit on a couch with her feet on the floor. They have to be tucked under her like she's at a sleepover. My sentence, to be clear, I think Drew is an angel sent from heaven. Barely any notes, but I would like her to get caught in the rain on the way to work.
Okay, yes.
Don't miss the opportunity. You're walking to the train station. Once you get to work, 8 hours in an office, it starts pissing down on your hair that you just washed. Your mascara runs, your shoes squelch, your fingers are freezing. You get on the train, it smells like wet. Everyone gasps. They ask what happened. You turn grey. You get hypothermia.
And then you get to work and you look like crap. You feel like crap. You're very cold and wet. You got to interview Oprah on camera.
Yeah, and it's not like you've got a bit of distance. She is looking at every pore on your face, and it's got dirty, polluted rain in it from the clouds. Claire, remember when we were kids? We were at Wet n Wild one day, beautiful day, and then things turned, and it got very cold and very rainy, and Mum and Dad had like dropped us there with our brothers.
We had to wait out.
And we had to wait out the front. I've never been so cold.
Oh my gosh, it was storming.
Never been so cold.
You had to get off the rides because there was a risk of lightning.
Yeah, I don't even know if we had towels. I don't think we did. I was just in my swimmers, soaking wet, translucent skin, blue
like,
extremities. All
so
of us were just
wind.
like...
I don't think we had any money for like hot chips or anything.
I think we probably did get hot chips, but that didn't even help.
Yeah.
It was so... Even the hot chips would have been soggy. We were so cold. I want her to have that experience. I think we all got sick for a week.
Yeah.
And that's what I think she needs to experience in order to have the full spectrum of human emotion, which I know she cares about.
And then she can do a follow-up video about that's like, you know, like I said that being caught in the rain was like great, but you know, there are some downsides to being caught in the rain. Just really acknowledge that complexity.
Love. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Cancelled. I will be sharing that video and many more on the twins' thoughts on Instagram. The executive producer of Cancelled is Talissa Bazaz with audio editing by Tom Lyon, and we will be back next week. Bye.
Bye.